Okay, so our goal is to write equations. So notice it doesn't say to graph. We're not graphing today. We'll check the graphs, but we're actually doing math today, plugging in and rewriting and all that. So we're writing equations given a vertex and a point. It says write vertex form from the board, and I don't have that up yet. So everything of all of our work today is going to be utilizing this form, which is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. All of our problems will be plugging in points into this. We're going to plug in numbers in the hk, which is the vertex, and then we're going to plug in a point in the xy. We're going to solve for a. So what's great about vertex form is that if it's written this way, you can see the vertex. Let me make a little note here. With vertex form, you don't need the negative b over 2a. You can see the vertex. It's this value and this value. You don't have to go through the process that we've been going through on the steps and the handout. And I guess that's it. So everybody's got their books open to page 140. You've written down the standard on page 140. So I can jump there. Read it really quick. What's the standard you wrote down on page 140? Let's take a little look. What did you hold down page 140? So this was the one you were supposed to write. MA 912 AR 3.4. Write a quadratic function to represent the relationship between two quantities from a graph, a written description, or a table of values within a math or real world context. So mathematical, they're talking about kind of easy numbers, integers. In the real world context is where we'll see a lot of decimals come into play, So anyway, this is our standard today, writing the quadratic function. So make sure you have that written down for your homework, please. I need to walk around and take a look and see how many of these graphs you got done in the last 2 days. So let's head to page 132. And on Monday, I assigned number 17 and 18. Right, here's number 17. It was just shifted left one. And I'm wondering, did you do domain and range on 17? If you didn't, you should be writing it in right now. If you did not do domain and range, write it in now. Anybody have any questions on number 17? Okay, let's look at 18, the even problem. Here's 18. You can't quite see the picture yet, but you should have got x equals 1, plug in your vertex, and this should be your table. Any questions on 18 right now? Any of these numbers that came out? Yeah. Scroll slightly. So here's the picture I'm looking for 18. The domain for all of them is negative infinity to infinity. The range is always the y value of the vertex. When I look at y, it starts at 1 and it's everything higher. So it goes from 1 upwards. What am I doing wrong here then? Let me see a little bit more work on this. That's exactly what it is. And here's sign for me, but I'm really looking for more. Okay. Do you have anything on page 132? I have page protectors if you want. In that basket, take as many as you want. Yeah, take as many as you want. Does anybody do track and field here? Do we do shot put here? Oh, we do. I thought we just did distance. Actually, I think we had a girl get a scholarship for shot put a few years ago. Eleanor. Easy. The boys though. Alright, so step 4 is where things get tricky. You're gonna rewrite vertex form all over again. And this time you're only gonna use the H and the K, the vertex, and the A value. So this time you don't plug in for X, Y. Then you're going to FOIL the parentheses, distribute A, combine like terms, and then you're done. 7 quick steps. It sounds like a lot, and it'll feel like a lot the first few times you do it. But if you hang in there, it becomes more fluid. It's not the kind of thing you'll just look at and figure out. You have to practice it. So, if you practice it, it's totally doable. It's a priority to you. When you're ready, we're going to go to, well, you can look at the first example on page 142. And the one I'm going to do with you right now is on page 143, number 1. So when you're ready, I'll look at the room, and when I see people have this gray box open, I'll know they're ready to get going into this. There will be a video of this if I go too fast. Yes. There will be a video later. If it goes too fast, you can push play and pause it and do all that. So. Okay, the table represents a quadratic function. Write an equation in standard form. Step 1, write vertex form. Step 2, plug in HK and XY to that form. The trick is, what is the vertex of this parabola? And they've only given us a table. I can tell you with certainty, are we all on the same page? I have the same problem as you, right? I can tell you with certainty this is the vertex. How do I know out of this table that that's the vertex? This, nope, that's not it. A good guess. Is what? No, not necessarily. Yeah. When you see a repeat on either side, when you see symmetry, what's in the middle of there is the vertex, which might be what you were saying because you saw the pattern there, Colton. But so when these are repeating, what's in the center is the vertex. So our vertex is 0, 1. That 0, 1 goes in the HK spot. So I'm going to do y equals a times x minus 0 squared plus 1. 0, 1, HK. Then I'm going to use this point, just the very first point, as the plane x and y. This is going to be the x and the y in our equation. So I'm going to plug negative 4 in for x and negative 3 in for y. So now we're at negative 3 equals a in the x spot. I'm going to put negative 4 minus 0 squared plus 1. You can pick any of them, just don't pick the vertex. So it's a really good idea because probably those zeros would have been easier, huh? I will always use the first point just to give everybody a system, but you could have picked any of these 3 white points. All right, step 3 is to simplify, find A. So I would do the parentheses, and it would be negative 3 equals A, negative 4 squared plus 1, negative 3 equals A. Negative 4 times a negative 4 is 16 plus 1. And I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. Negative 4 equals 16A. Divided by 16. Negative 1/4 equals A. Wow, we got a fraction. So, who's got a question? Really moved through that pretty quickly. Squared it, subtracted it. 4 over 16 is the same as 1/4. If you want to work with negative 0.25, you go right ahead. Negative 0.25. If you want to go to ACE Math 1, keep the fraction. Step 4. Plug in only HK and the A value you just found. Steps 1 through 3 is just figuring out what's our A. Boom, did it, found A, great. We're going to go back to this form, and this time we're only going to do the HK and the new A value. So it's negative 1/4 x minus 0 squared plus 1. Who's got a question on that? This is where I'm going to lose people. I know. All right, step 5 said FOIL, and actually since we have a 0 here, we don't have to. We'll just call it simplify. And it's going to be y equals negative 1/4 x squared plus 1. And that's our equation. So moving out of graphing into a lot of mathing. Plugging in and simplifying. You might like this better if you give it a chance. So there's 5 minutes left in class. I'd like to do a more difficult problem. So this is your assignment today. I'm going to look at that and maybe start the process of maybe like 10, like one of the harder ones. This was all the steps. I'm not saying this wasn't difficult. All I'm saying is this 0, having a 0 involved made it a little bit easier. So if this wasn't a 0, there'd be a little bit more work to it. There's a faculty meeting today after school, but you can come in Thursday, Friday. Okay? And there is a good example on this in your book. Probably some manual on this. Alright, so here I go, number 10. And all your keys are presenting this a little differently. They say, instead of a table, they're straight up telling you what H, K, and X, Y are. So we write them all down, and we're going to put the H and the K in, and we're going to put the X and the Y in. So we're filling 4 numbers into the model. I'll do the vertex first. That is the HK, and then I'll put in the other one. That has the XY. I put 4 different numbers in it. And I'm going to do the math. Yeah, maybe. I guess I would just do it on notebook paper. But here's the first three steps. Steps 1 through 3 are all aimed at figuring out what the A value will be in this parabola. So that's half credit if you can find A. That shows graphs. So if it was a 4-point question, I'd give you 2. You're showing some comprehension right there. Now I'm going to do it all over again. This time, I'm only plugging in the H, the K, and the A value we just found. And so to simplify this, we don't have a 0 this time around. I would FOIL it.